welcome. And today in this episode we'll be talking about the jump function for the player. And then I think last episode we talked about how to move our player left right. Yeah, that's using the horizontal axis as the x-axis. We did that in the last lecture. So now we're talking about the jump function. So let's get to it. So first and foremost, let me check our previous lecture. Okay, so there was an issue where you see the raycast here. If you zoom in, the raycast was showing on the right, but we don't have the raycast showing on the left, so we probably need to correct that. I would do that. It doesn't really affect your game because it's just a debug. We are trying to just debug it to be able to check where our raycasts are. So that's just basically it. Well, one other thing that I'm going to do is let me check the color of my player. So okay, so I can see the raycast very well. Yeah, you see it's just a little bit on this edge, and then the next one is also just on that edge, on the middle. Yeah, fine. So yes, so first and foremost we need to go to our character controller. I think that was where we wrote the raycast options. Yes, so for the raycast, you see, let me check. Yes, to check grounded. Yeah, okay, this is the error here. So for the right, we didn't include the second number, which is 2, so we just used 0 1 0, so which is going to be wrong. So it's just going to overlap. So I think this should work. What else? Control S. Let me go back to my player. Let me just test this. This is going to be a very fast lecture because basically it's the jump function. So we are going to be using the new input system also, like we used for the horizontal, for the move left and right, for the movement left and right. So we'll be using the input system. So let's go to the input system. I double click on my input system. So for our movement, you can remember we had vector 2 for our movement, which we used to move left and right, which is WASD. That's what we use. Now we don't have any value for look, and we don't have any value for fire, so we have to delete that. And for fire also, we need to delete that also. Now next thing we need to do is we need to add actions. So we can add an action, and then we can call it jump. So when we add the jump action, then we come to the bindings. First and foremost, it's going to be a button, yes. Then we come to the bindings, and then we need to pick a controller. So first and foremost, we want it to be keyboard or mouse. If we want to use gamepad also, you can use gamepad. Then I think we need to click here to listen to the button. Okay, no, so I choose keyboard, and then I think there's supposed to be a listening key here. Yeah, so I choose keyboard, and then I think I want to listen. The listen button is here, but I'm not seeing it. But let me just click it. Automatically it's going to listen to a key, so I'm just going to press the spacebar key. So automatically it has picked the spacebar for me. And I can also add another binding to this for the jump, which is I can use the joypad. So I can click on the joypad. Let me go back. So I could use a controller. Normally I used to use it's always an XR controller or a gamepad. So if I click on the gamepad, it's always button south, that's X, so we can use button south. So either ways, either one could work for our jump. So that's why we use the new input system. It allows you to be able to use any button that you need immediately. So that's why we use the new input system, which is fine. So I can close this. You can auto save if you want to auto save it. You can save assets if you want to save, but I'm just going to close it. So next thing we need to do is we need to go to our player controller, and then we need to input the script in our input the variables in our player controller, and also action our jump. So you remember when we were doing the input action for the horizontal movement as x-axis, we used public void on movement, and then we used the vector 2 for the input and vector 2 for the move direction. So this determined this. We also determined our speed and then the gravity, how fast it falls or how heavy the player is going to be. So now, first and foremost, I'm going to be creating some variables. So I'll create those variables, and then we can now input the function for the on jump. So yes, so let me define this. I think I want to define this tag as a player tag, player properties. Yeah, now I need to create jump speed. So public float jump speed. I think I'll use 15f. I use 15 most times because 15 is always like the most moderate. And then next thing we need to do is I need to create a boolean for my is jumping. Then I need to create a boolean. Remember, booleans are true or false. So statement triggers, when you use booleans for triggers, they are either true or false. So I'm creating a boolean for my player state. So let me give this tag player state. So I would say private bool. No, let's use public bool is jumping. If it's jumping is true, you do this. If it's jumping is false, else do that. So I also need to create input flags also. So here I'll have private bool start jump, and then I'll have another one, private bool release jump. So when you press the button for the start and when you release the button, when you take your hands off. So that's why we are having this these functions, these variables, to be able to call them down in our jump function. So we have that now. That is that. Now let me go and create a new. Let me create above. Yeah. So for my movement, let me create it. Remember, we still have this character controller where we say if the player is below, that is, if the player is on the ground, if he's grounded, you do something. Else, you move the direction X, Y. That's multiplied by you multiply by time dot delta time. So you don't move if the player is up. You use gravity to multiply the movement. So that was what we did here. So yes. I need to create a public void. So public void on jump. Remember, it's almost the same thing like the previous one we did. So we do input action dot callback. Context. Callback context and context. So we have that. Yeah. So now we call the function. We say we need to create an if statement here. So we say if the context started, that's if the jump is started, we say start jump is true or is false. So that's what we are calling. So let's say if statement if context was started, say start jump is true is equals to true. Else, if context is cancelled or stopped, I don't think we have stop. We have stop. No, we don't have it. So if it's cancelled, if context was cancelled, we say release jump is false. So now that we've created that, let me take this up. I think take this up. Alt and I move my arrow key. Yes. So yeah. So now next thing we need to do is we need to go to the update function and call it in our update function with our character controller. So remember we said if character controller below, that means if it's grounded, what do you do? If character controller is grounded, we need to create another if statement. Yes, if yes, and we are creating an if statement because we need to know if we are jumping or if we are in the air. So if start jump if the player is in the air or if he has started jumping, make sure that start jump is false. If player is in the air, make sure that start jump is false. That means when you want to start the jump, like when you trigger it, is false, is off. So say start jump is equals to false. Mostly is always in the opposite direction for this. False. Then your movement direction, your move direction dot y is equals to your jump speed. And is jumping is equals to true. Remember the is jumping variable that we created. You see, it came in handy here now. So is jumping is equals to true. Else. So remember our else here where we say else move direction minus equals to else if it's in the air. So say we also need to create an if statement for the release jump. If release jump So we say release jump is equals to false. And then here we are not going to say move direction dot y is equals to jump speed. We need to calculate the direction. So we say still under this release jump, we say if the movement or direction, if the move direction, so that's movement direction, move direction dot y is greater than 0, then we say move direction dot y multiply by or equals to, so we multiply it by a float, so 0.5, I think 0.6, 0.5. So move direction dot y multiply or equals to 0.5 f. And here we have it. So remember we are doing this in our update function, so it's going to call up at every update at every time. So let me check let me save the script, and then let me check my player, if it works. Yes, so just ignore this error. So let me press play now. Oh, it won't work. The jump function won't work because we've done this, so we also need to action the input system in our player. So let's go to our player, and then yes, we've done the level geometry. We've called that when our player is on the ground, which is the level geometry. Yeah, so we created that is jumping boolean for you to be able to see here whether it's true or false, just as a texting phase for us. You can either put it there or you might not put it there, but most times I always put it to be able to test. So I go to my player input. Remember, we created events for our player to move, and now you see we created automatically the jump event has also come up. So next thing we need to do is we need to add to the list, and then we need to pick our player controller script or our player. So we just drag him here, and then next thing we need to do is we need to click on the jump function. So go to our player controller and then the on jump function. So we've done that. Automatically it's supposed to work. Don't forget to save, always save. Yeah, so we are going left, right. I can feel it is dragging, so it feels like there's a friction with my player and the floor that it's colliding with. So first and foremost, come here, let me show you the jump. So it's jumping for you to know it's true. So you say a show that is jumping is true. Show that is jumping is true. Let me increase the walk speed to 20. So you see it's moving faster, but we cannot allow this because you can still see it's dragging. There's like a glitch when the player moves. So what we need to do now is, let me see, the gravity is too slow. Gravity is slow. Let me increase my jump speed to 20 and then my gravity to 40. Let's see. You see it's faster now. Jump speed makes it faster, but it falling down, it's not that heavy. Let me make it like, let me say 60. So you see it falls down faster. Yeah, so but we still have an issue. The player feels like there's a glitch when it's moving, so we need to correct that. So let's stop this. Remember, when it was because I was play testing, that's why I was changing the values here. But if you want to change the values and you want it to work, you need to change the values before you press play. If you press play, any values you change. If you stop playing the game, except particle systems, if you stop playing the game, everything will be reset back to the default. So now what we need to do is we need to create a new physics system. So because we need to remove that friction, so let me create new physics, 2D physics. So create physics material 2D. Let me call it friction, no friction or frictionless. So yes, we have frictionless physics. Now I want to change this to 0. So you see we don't have any friction. Our bounciness also 0. Then let me go to my player, and then I add my my physics to my collider. I also add my physics to my rigid body. Now if I'm playing, you will see it's going to be smoother. So let's press play. Yeah, I feel a more smoother movement. Yeah, so we can see this is where we are now. I think one other thing that I need to do is I need to check why my player is jumping like this. I'm not tapping it so hard, but it's jumping so high. So let me see, let me try and correct. Let me give my walk speed to 15, my gravity, let's say 40, and then jump speed 20. So let's see. Yeah, okay, feels normal now. Feels normal. Yeah, feels normal. Feels normal. So let me correct it here now. So let me say 15 for my walk speed, gravity let me say 40, and then my jump speed 20. I think this is fine. Yeah. Yeah, nice. So this is where we'll be stopping today. In the next lecture we'll proceed. So in the next lecture we'll be talking about sticky grounds. We are facing it here also, but I would be explaining that to you in the next session, so we'll be able to understand why the player is still feeling sticky on the ground. It feels lighter now, but it's still feeling sticky on the ground. So I'm going to correct that in the next lecture. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Cheers.